Good Tuesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett. Again, we're going to be doing weather on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook and Twitter as we continue to track these storms moving through middle Georgia as we speak. Got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Now, this is going to be for that storm coming out of Peach County and heading down into, say, Houston County and southern portions of Twiggs County. So, new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this is going to go until, is it 6:15, Miranda?
Yeah, it is until 6:15 p.m. for that 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and penny-sized hail.
All right, again, this is that storm sitting over Byron right now. It is just now crossing Interstate 75. There's Warner Robins, and then you get over towards the Air Force Base. So, again, this is until 6:15, winds of 60 miles per hour with the storm across southern portions of Bibb County, northern portions of Peach County, and really getting into northern portions of Houston County. This is going to be north of Highway 96. That's where that main area of concern, but that does include Warner Robins as well as Robins Air Force Base. So, again, from Byron, crossing Interstate 75, not a pretty commute this evening if you're heading southbound along 75 out of Macon. And here's the airport. There's the Macon Airport. Again, that's on 41, and here's 129 that drops down into the Robins Air Force Base. So very ominous sky over Warner Robins as we speak. Then we get up into Bibb County. Here's the initial severe thunderstorm warning. Now, most of this storm is pushing over into Twiggs County as well as southern Jones County, but around downtown Macon, we have a lot of lightning, very heavy rainfall, and we've been getting rocked for about 20 minutes in downtown Macon as the storm really developed over towards Lizella in Middle Georgia State. Rapidly intensified, and it continues to push off towards the east. Again, that warning goes until 5:45. Our other warning is until 6 o'clock, and it does include Twiggs County, southern portions of Jones County, and over into Wilkinson County. So here is Gordon and Ivy. This gets you east of Interstate 16, and that'll continue over towards the McIntyre community. You're not currently in the warning, but we could certainly see that warning extended off towards the east. Then another warning up into Washington County. Sandersville's included in this, as well as Worthen, right along 248 and Georgia Highway 15. This will continue to slide over towards the east, towards the Oconee River, and over towards Edge Hill. But again, this is what we're dealing with right now. Here is a live look from downtown Macon. The storm kind of pushing out of the city right now, but you see the lights are flashing. Looks like we may have taken a power hit on that traffic light. And again, that's going to be at Poplar as well as, Cherry as well as MLK Boulevard. That's where that light is out flashing. Our station is at the corner of Plum and MLK Boulevard. So this is where we're looking off towards the east. And again, heavy rainfall be coming through. It looks better than it did about 10 minutes ago when the peak of that storm was running through, but check it out. Temperature has fallen from the upper 90s into the upper 70s. So this is providing some heat relief, but again, we are watching these strong storms making their way through middle Georgia as we speak. Meteorologist Ryan Miranda is joining me as well during the severe weather coverage. And Ryan, I'm going to toss it over to you for a couple of minutes and let you diagnose what you see on the radar.
All right, perfect. Yes. So, Ryan, right now I put a track on some of these storms over the next 45 minutes or so. The storms are moving to the southeast at about 25 miles per hour. So these are some of the cities in the path of this storm. We have Garden Valley at 5:32. If you guys could take this full so we can see some of the names actually that are listed here on this. We have Ideal at 5:35, Marshallville at 5:41, Houston Lake at 5:43, Harrison at 5:46, Perry at 5:49, Meadowdale at 5:53, Oglethorpe at 5:58, Montezuma at 5:59, excuse me, Allentown at 6:05, and Hayneville at 6:10. So these are the storms that are producing some gusty winds. We have a few of the severe thunderstorm warnings capable of downing trees and power lines. If you live in those polygons, you really do want to take these warnings. Stay away from the windows. It's when we have damaging winds. If there's a big gust of wind that comes over your house, the windows are usually the first to go. So it is a good idea to stay weather aware through the next few hours as we have 4 severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently out. So really areas in Macon still, Warner Robins through northern portions of Houston County right now, really about to get the heaviest portions of the rain right now. We're Byron right now, 75. all these heavy downpours that is moving through. I can turn on some of the lightning as well. Been hearing the lightning even here at the station, and we'll kind of push this further. So Dry Branch right now, also when this is headed towards Jeffersonville and Danville, areas to the south and east of Macon, Dublin, anywhere really to the south and east. You really do want to watch this line carefully over the next few hours as they're still barreling through our area, but still raining pretty heavily over Wilkinson County, McIntyre, Irvington, not currently under that warning, but Oconee. And then we do have that other warning that's issued for Washington County, Sandersville, Davisboro, about to get the heavy downpours, Worthen, Hamburg State Park, all under that severe thunderstorm warning. So over the next few hours, it's really a good idea to stay weather aware with these storms pushing through. But there is a flip side to these storms that are pushing through. This is a cold front, and it's going to be ushering in a drier air mass. So we get some relief in quotes, for Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday as well in terms of our dew points, and our humidity shouldn't be as bad, but we're still going to be dealing with some hot and humid conditions over the weekend. So let's look at some of the velocity. The radar is able to dive past some of the actual rain, and we're able to see the wind structure of some of these storms. The green shading that you're seeing, that's the winds moving towards the radar site. That's right now over Jeffersonville. That's where our radar site is. And the red means the winds are moving away. So usually areas with the bright green or the bright red, that's the very heavy winds. So let's see if we can query some of these areas right now in northern Twiggs County. The radar is indicating winds of about 30 miles per hour, but especially areas in these polygons, the winds could be up to about 60 miles per hour, which can down those trees and the power lines as well. Right over Warner Robins, going to query one there. Also winds, the radar is indicating up to 30 miles per hour. So this is still producing even gusty winds, but if you're not even under a warning, but you have the rain, they could still be winds up to 50 miles per hour. If they're below 60, that's technically not considered severe, but it's still some very strong winds that are pushing through. So we can look at this one also, severe thunderstorm warning that's in Washington County. It's turned red, so the winds are moving away from the radar, but still the radar is indicating winds could be gusting up to 30 miles per hour. So these are still producing gusty winds even outside of the heavy downpours and the frequent lightning as well. Anytime you hear that rumble of thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So when you hear the storms, you see the dark clouds, you really do want to get inside right away, even when these storms turn severe as well. That's really kind of the worst case scenario with some of these stronger storms. So let's dive a little bit closer in so we can get some closer areas with some of these strong storms. Looks like we could have a patch of some heavier winds right now over I-16 in Twiggs County. Right here, that blue dot is showing winds gusting up to about 45 miles per hour. So definitely seeing some pretty strong gusty winds with this. I don't think there's too much hail out there right now, but this is currently our hail tracker that we're looking at, getting a kind of a wider view to see what's really showing up. Only there's really one area in just crossing from Bibb County towards Twiggs County, showing a little bit of a hail core in here. Let's see what the radar is indicating, about 3/4 inch size hail. So about that marble sized hail that could be coming down with some of these stronger storms. Hail is normally a sign that we have very strong storms. In order for hail to form, we have to have big updrafts of thunderstorms. So you get the very powerful strong storms. It's lifting the ice pellets that are frozen in the top of the atmosphere up higher and higher, and it accumulates more ice on it until it falls out of the clouds. So hopefully we're not having to deal with too much of that outside. I'll toss it back over to Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett for a little bit more of what's going on out there.
Hey, great diagnosis there, Miranda, of how hail is formed. And again, it's got to have strong updrafts, and that keeps recirculating those ice cubes, and they continue to grow. But again, we got a line of strong to severe storms, essentially from Sandersville back through McIntyre, now through downtown Macon, heading back towards Roberta, as well as Butler. Off towards the south and east, you still got to deal with these storms. So got people watching in Dublin. It's quiet in Dublin right now. Now, we do have this gust front. You're about to get some gusty winds, probably some ominous clouds rolling through Dublin, and we'll go to the Dublin camera in just a second. But this is the area along 16 and then down 75. This is where the strong storms will going to be. Gray, Thomaston up towards Forsyth, no more severe weather threat for you. It's just regular rain. That's what we call stratiform rain. It's on the backside of this complex of thunderstorms. Still some storms back off towards the north and west, but these are not severe. And again, it's along this leading edge. That's where we're going to be dealing with those most likely strong to severe storms across middle Georgia. And again, we'll pause this. And Miranda, when you get a chance, switch it over to the Dublin camera for me, and we'll look down in Dublin as well.
Yeah, they did also just continue that severe thunderstorm warning for Bibb in Twiggs County for that 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, and that is in place for the next little while, I think for the next 6 minutes still.
Yeah, until 5:45. And again, here is that new warning polygon. You got kind of two lines, but from downtown Macon over towards Dry Branch, it's really going to be for this area where you're seeing that highest amount of lightning right along 16. And then from 16, you head up towards 23 towards US 80, and then you drop down towards the south. 23 will take you really parallel 16 all the way down into, say, Pulaski County. So we're watching that. But again, eastern portions of Bibb County as we speak, that's what we're dealing with, especially near Dry Branch, and that's heading over into Twiggs County. And then you got these storms, Twiggs County heading over into Wilkinson County for Gordon. And again, I see you got the camera up. We'll do a live look in Dublin right now.
Doing some zooms around.
Yeah. Bruce, that's what we call Miranda is Bruce. So again, Dublin, 97 degrees. We're looking off towards the north and west. So this is where that leading edge of those gusty winds will be coming from. It's still very hot in Dublin, but as I said, it was 97, 98 when these storms started, and Macon temperatures have fallen into the 70s. And again, that's what we're looking for. Ominous clouds working their way off towards the south and east, and that'll be making its way into Dublin within the next few minutes. So you still got a little bit of time in Dublin before these storms make their way into your area, but I would not be surprised if maybe we see some severe thunderstorm warnings extended off towards Lawrence County. Again, current warnings we have: Washington County, Wilkinson, Twiggs County, Macon, downtown Macon. That does include Bibb County, Twiggs County, and then you got Houston County, Peach County, and the rest of Twiggs County. So right now, Twiggs County has 3 separate severe thunderstorm warnings because you got 3 areas of concern within this line of storms. So we'll go back down, really start down towards the south. So here's Bonaire, Warner Robins Air Force Base. If you're south of 96, not too concerned with this storm. You are watching these storms back towards Fort Valley. That's going to be heavy rainfall. Notice here's Perry. This is Interstate 75. 75 is not a pretty commute right now down in Peach as well as Houston County. You got these very gusty winds sliding off towards the east, and near the Macon Airport, that looks like we could be dealing with some larger hail right there. So I'll pull up the hail tracker and just see if we're seeing anything, any concerns. And again, Miranda was showing this a few minutes ago, 3/4 of an inch hail. That's not severe. Hail has to be one size in diameter for it to be severe. That's about the size of a quarter. 3/4 of an inch, that's about the size of a penny. So there's your comparison. But again, this is what we're looking for in portions of Middle Georgia. We'll also pull up the winds and just show you where some of these stronger winds are trying to work their way through portions of Middle Georgia. And again, winds are going to be the main concern with these storms. We're talking winds of 60 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher. So we'll kind of query some of these locations, give you a general idea of what these winds could be doing. And again, 41-mile-per-hour winds, that's coming out of Peach County. That's not severe, but 41-mile-per-hour wind can certainly bring down trees and cause power issues across Middle Georgia. And we've had a lot of storms the last few weeks. A lot of trees may have been weakened with a lot of the rain and thunderstorms we've had lately. The intense heat, that can put a stress on trees. So we'll be watching these. But again, I wanted to show you that, see that outflow boundary, this little green line, this thin line, that is the cooler air rushing south. That's approaching Dublin very shortly, and Dudley as well, right along 16. That's where you're going to get some gusty winds while the main storm threat continues to be back towards your north and west. And again, several clusters of thunderstorms across Georgia. We got the ones moving through Middle Georgia right now, some over towards the Savannah market, and then more storms down towards Albany as well, back towards Dothan. But again, this is the main area of concern coming through the heart of Middle Georgia as we speak, and these will continue to track off towards the south and east the next hour or so, and will continue to push off really towards the south and east at about 35 miles per hour. Just to show you future casts as far as our model, storming right now, but over the next few hours, these storms will continue to race off towards the south. So notice by 9 or 10 o'clock, the rain and storms are out of here this evening. This will be a one-hit wonder for this storm system pushing through, and then we'll see improving weather through the overnight hours and into the day tomorrow. But again, unfortunately, dealing with these strong storms, big heat the past few days. We got big storms this evening, and again, we got the 4 severe thunderstorm warnings, 1 for Washington County, 3 for Twiggs County, as well as Wilkinson County, Bibb County, as well as downtown Macon, and then portions of Peach and Houston County are included in this. And again, you just kind of track these out. We'll likely see warnings extended for farther towards the east in Wilkinson County, maybe Washington County, Johnson County, Lawrence County, Bleckley County. Just a heads up, these storms are heading your way. Not to forget about you folks back towards Taylor County and Sly County, down into Macon County itself. Strong storms. Just because you're not under a warning doesn't mean you can't have damage from these storms or have lightning issues. Check out all that lightning, and this shows you that these storms continue to intensify as they push off towards the south and east. Again, 5:45 is when some of these warnings are about to expire. So we're going to stick with this for a few minutes as we see if any of these warnings get extended or slid or removed, expired. So that'll be certainly some good news. But it looks like our main area of concern, far northern portions of Houston County, northern Peach County, and then you get over into central Twiggs County, just to the west of Jeffersonville. This is Interstate 16. Here's Highway 23. And again, Jeffersonville, that's where our radar is, and that's right along US 80. And then that drops down towards, you get over towards Danville and Montrose. And again, you can continue down 80 towards Dublin. So that's what we're going to be watching with these storms as they make their way through. We'll pull up the Dublin camera again just to see what we're seeing. Again, you're looking off towards the east, essentially. Miranda, if we can, let's pan it back towards the north. It's just saw some lightning right there. That was a pretty good bolt of lightning. But if you'll go back to that way, the left, that's where we're going to be tracking these storms. Again, we're looking off towards the east. If we can go back towards the north and maybe west. And again, ominous sky. You see some of the heavy rain. This is Jefferson Street right here. That's the Jefferson Street Baptist Church, just giving you a point of reference. The Toyota dealership is right there as well. And again, lots of lightning, heavy rainfall with these storms as they make their way towards the south. So Dublin, just giving you a heads up, these storms are rolling your way and will be coming down Interstate 16 very shortly. Let's pan a little bit back towards the left, just a little bit more back towards the west to see what else we're looking at. And again, we're looking off towards the north as we speak. Still 97 degrees down in Dublin. It is very hot across middle Georgia, and then you get these storms and it's knocking these temperatures down. Again, more ominous looking clouds. We call these CLCs. Creepy looking clouds. They're usually harmless, not producing tornadoes or anything like that, but this makes you look that there's the shelf cloud. This is the edge of that gust front coming south and east out of those storms that are off towards your north and west. So again, looks ominous in Dublin. It won't be long before those storms arrive in Dublin. So do keep that in mind. Again, we continue to track these. What's that warning for? You got a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, that was a new severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Macon, Dooley, Sly, and Taylor counties until 6:30. A severe thunderstorm was located near Rupert or 10 miles north of Ellaville, moving east at 25 miles per hour.
All right, and this is that warning right here. This is going to be for Macon, Marion, Sly, as well as Taylor County. And again, as Miranda was saying, it's until 6:30. It's going to be pushing off towards the east. So this is Macon County. This is Taylor County, just to the south of Rupert, down towards Ideal. Looks like we're getting some gusty winds. And then you drop down along 19 into Ellaville, down into Sly County. We'll look at the winds again in some of these storms. Winds tend to be the main issue with these storms. And again, 60-mile-per-hour winds are what we're going to be looking for. Got a few areas of those brighter greens, and that's, again, what the Weather Service is warning for. Heading over towards Marshallville, we'll be tracking these winds as they make their way your direction. But we'll just query these, give you a general idea of some of the winds that could be occurring right at 49 miles per hour, so 50-mile-per-hour winds. Not severe by definition. Winds have to be 58 miles per hour or greater. But just because that's what the radar is seeing doesn't mean storms winds can't be stronger. And again, 50-mile-per-hour winds can certainly produce tree and power issues on their own. Winds 25 to 30 can bring down a tree some days, so just keep that in mind. You don't have to be under winds of 60 miles per hour to see damage. Elsewhere, we'll look down towards the south a little bit, get into Sly County, winds 41 miles per hour. So still a lot of gusty winds with these storms across portions of middle Georgia. And again, that warning goes until 6:30 for portions of Macon County, Taylor County, as well as Sly County. That's what we're looking at with this storm. Again, pulling up the radar, just showing you a line of storms. Is that a new warning?
I think it might have actually been a new warning. Let me double check.
Yeah, that's going to be that extension.
Yeah, that was now
in
for Bleckley, Lawrence, Twiggs, and Wilkinson County until 6:30. Those storms are moving east at 20 miles per hour.
All right, and here is that new warning. Does include Jeffersonville, Danville, and again, this is Twiggs County. You get over into Wilkinson County, northern portions of Lawrence County, and then northern Bleckley County. So 4 new warnings added to, 4 new counties added to this warning. And this is what is coming through Warner Robins a few minutes ago. And you see tremendous amounts of lightning from Dry Branch almost to Jeffersonville. You get in a little closer, and we're going to be talking about near Bullard, Marion, right along 16 up towards the District Path. This is going to be down towards Jeffersonville, heading down towards 96, and then 16, and then of course US 80. That'll take you on down towards Dublin as well as Lawrence. But there's a Robins Air Force Base as we speak. This is Houston County. This is Bibb County. This is Twiggs County. And again, it looks like the heaviest part of this storm, the most intense part, looks to be near Bullard as we speak, right along Highway 23, and that's going to continue to track off towards the east. Again, here's Marion, right along 16. Not a great commute along the local interstates here in middle Georgia this evening. And again, if it holds together, it will be making its way over into this new warning, which is for Twiggs County, Wilkinson County, south of Irvington. This is 441. That'll take you down towards Dublin. And again, here's US 80 that connects Danville to Dudley over towards Dublin, and then Interstate 16, and northern portions of Bleckley County. Now, there's Cochran. This is well to the north of you, so this is for that northeastern corner. But again, this is the area we're going to be watching along back towards Warner Robins. Byron still getting heavy rainfall. That storm near Fort Valley looks like it's intensifying as well. If it continues to do so, we may see a new warning issued for southern Houston County, including Perry, maybe as far south as Elko. And then you got that storm near Marshallville stretching back towards Ideal and Rupert. And again, that's going to be making its way into Macon County as well as Sly County as it comes out of Taylor County. Again, we may see a connection. There's just a little gap right here. Looks to be a pretty intense storm near Fort Valley. Again, you don't have to be in a warning to be getting these gusty winds and very heavy rainfall and frequent lightning as we continue to watch these storms. The storm over into Washington County looks like it's pushed across the river, so we're kind of in good shape with it. And then again, you got Washington County near McIntyre. We're going to be tracking this storm as it drops off towards the east as well. Miranda, I'm going to toss it back to you for a minute.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Ryan. We're already seeing some of the power outages now. When we get the severe thunderstorms, they're able to really blow down the trees and the power lines. So this is what it looks like. We currently have 13,000 outages in Georgia. All areas that are shaded here have at least a 1% outage, up to 20%. So we're not seeing widespread outages over the entire counties, but these are already knocking out some of the power outages. Bibb County right now currently has the most in middle Georgia, almost 1,500 outages. Putnam closely behind it by only about 10, about almost 1,500 outages. Washington County, again, just right behind that one, around 1,450 outages. Hancock has 1,200, and Baldwin County, the top 5 with about 900 outages right now that are pushing through. This graphic updates every 15 minutes with these storms that push through, so we'll have to see how these continue to move through, especially in those areas that are under the severe thunderstorm warnings. You may have some power outages. Hopefully we're not going to have to deal with that too much, but just know that this is already having a history of creating those power outages with some of these strong winds that could be knocking down the trees or the power lines right now. And when you're under the warnings, you really do want to seek shelter and you get inside, stay away from the windows, really try to get to also the lowest floor of your home. Being the closest to the ground has the greatest chance of the winds being weaker. The higher you go up in the atmosphere, sometimes the winds can be even stronger the higher up that you go. So we still have these 4 severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently out. We'll start and go west to east. So we have this one warning out that's in portions of Taylor County, Macon County, and Sly County until 6:30. The winds could be gusting up to 60 miles per hour. That specific cell, especially over Ideal right now, this could be causing those power outages. A little bit further to the east, that one has been allowed to expire in downtown Macon, the very southern portions of Bibb County. That's moving towards Warner Robins, Byron, Bonaire. You're all in a severe thunderstorm warning as well until 6:15. That's for portions of Peach County, northern Houston County, and Twiggs County. And then we have this other one that's just connecting towards that in kind of the Four Corners area between Wilkinson, Twiggs, Bleckley, and Lawrence County until 6:30. These are all for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour that can cause those power outages, knock down those trees, that could even knock down onto your cars or your houses. So always a great idea to get indoors when these warnings come over you. The best way to stay weather aware, we really say this a lot, is by downloading the WGXA Skywatch weather app. It is super helpful. It doesn't bombard you with all of the warnings out over Middle Georgia. You put in your specific location and it literally tells it to you out loud. You don't have to search to find the warnings. It tells you out loud when there's a warning. Sometimes it's even faster than my specific ones that I get on text or what we even get here with these graphics. So it tells it to you practically instantly, and it works for all the warnings. It works for the heat warnings that we had, the severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, if those get issued ever. But it's really an amazing way to stay weather aware because you don't have to lift a penny after you put your location in, and it tells you your exact warning that's over you. When there's a watch, a warning, any lightning detected near your location, it's really a handy tool. We still have the one last thunderstorm warning that's in portions of Washington County until 6 o'clock, but it's mostly moving out at this point. So we still have about another 5 minutes until this warning will be allowed to expire. But some of these other ones still in place, especially that one to the right that's in that Four Corners area for Bleckley, Lawrence, Twiggs, and Wilkinson. That's in place for another 35 minutes until 6:30. So these storms are still packing a punch as they push south and east of Dublin, most of Bleckley County, down towards Dodge County. Just still a good idea to stay weather aware by downloading the WGXA Skywatch weather app. It's really great. It has the power of the radar in your hands. You can also see any of the temperatures. So it's just a really handy tool for everything that's pushing through. So we still could expect some of these storms really for the next few hours. Hopefully we're not going to have to deal with them all night. We likely won't. By around 8, 9 o'clock, they should be beginning to push out of our south and eastern counties. And through the overnight hours tonight, we won't have to deal with that, but this is going to usher in a drier air mass. The next 2 days, really, the humidity is not going to be sweltering and unbearable. It still will be a bit humid outside, but it feels like temperatures won't be surging back up into the triple digits. So once we get through these storms, we're looking for a little bit of relief before more heat arrives for the weekend. Ryan, I'll toss it back over to you as we get ready for the 6 o'clock newscast.
All right, we're getting ready for that 6 o'clock newscast again. We're still tracking these severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to leave the stream up on YouTube as well as Facebook and Twitter, and we'll come back to this after the 6 o'clock news. But we're about to start the 6 o'clock news on ABC 16, and of course, we'll keep you informed and up to date. Until we get the newscast going, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett, along with meteorologist Ryan Mirando, keeping you safe across Middle Georgia this evening.
Live from downtown Macon, this is WGXA News at 6.
Good evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Greg Lloyd.
I'm Amanda Peralta. Thank you for watching WGXA News at 6. Dangerous heat turning into strong and severe thunderstorms moving through the mid-state right now.
And Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett is tracking the storms in the Skywatch Weather Center. Ryan.
Once again, we've been tracking dangerous heat the past few days. Now we're tracking strong storms. Live look from Dublin. Starting to see the winds pick up in Dublin. We're looking off towards the north and west as these storms getting ready to move into portions of Lawrence County. And again, we got a cluster of several severe thunderstorms, including Washington County, Twiggs, Wilkinson County, Lawrence County, Bleckley County, stretching back into Houston as well as Peach County, Macon County, Taylor County, and Sly County. All these thunderstorms pushing off towards the south and east at about 35 miles per hour, producing tremendous amounts of lightning and very heavy rainfall, as well as those gusty winds. Winds will be the main issue. Now, Macon, the storms are south of you. It's still raining in downtown Macon, but as we look at some of the stronger storms, again, affecting portions of northern Houston County, and that's going to be sliding over into Twiggs County. We're going to continue to track these the next few minutes. These storms are associated with the front that's going to be bringing us somewhat more pleasant air the next few days. I'll have those details coming up in Maine Weather.
And download the WGXA Weather app to keep track of the changing weather issues and conditions. Scan the QR code on your screen to download it straight to your smartphone. Ryan's back shortly with your 10-day forecast. Tonight, a look at the Fulton County Courthouse, where former President Donald Trump and 18 others were indicted last night on multiple charges related to the 2020 election.
We have team coverage ahead, and we want to get you involved. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote in our interactive poll. We want to know if you agree with Trump's indictment in Georgia.
Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman explores how this case differs from the others and how Trump is arguing his innocence.
For Donald Trump, trying to play down his fourth indictment in 5 months, the playbook his usual go-to, paint the prosecution as political.
Meet the cast of unscrupulous accomplices he's assembled to get Trump.
Trump's team pointing to an apparently leaked version of the new indictment around noon on Monday, hours before the grand jury voted. Sounds rigged to me, Trump posted. A familiar defense, but different challenge. Prosecutors using racketeering statutes to allege a more organized effort by Trump to overturn his Georgia loss to Joe Biden. Famed defense attorney Alan Dershowitz.
You don't use RICO to go after people who contested an election. RICO was designed to go after the mob, maybe you go after corporate predators, but you don't go after people who honestly believe that the election was wrong and are doing everything in their power to make it right.
To date, this office has indicted, since I've been sitting as the district attorney, over 12,000 cases. This is the 11th RICO indictment. We followed the same process. We look at the facts, we look at the law, and we bring charges.
Fani Willis asserts Trump's team included a scheme to have a group of fake Georgia electors sign papers to falsely tell Congress that Trump won Georgia, not Biden. This case, and the 3 others, could not only test the legal system, but also Americans' faith in the process.
He's going to say, look, they're trying to keep me off the ballot. They're trying to prevent me from winning again the presidency. I've got confidence that we can provide a trial that will be fair and neutral and a result that the public can have confidence in.
The former U.S. attorney telling us it would be extremely unlikely that they could try all 4 cases before the election, perhaps 1 or 2, and that it would be almost impossible to have any appeals before voters go to the polls.
Scott Thuman joins us now, and Scott, both sides have kind of laid out their strategies. What are prosecutors saying?
Well, prosecutors are painting this as being different than what we have seen with the other indictments, that in many ways this is more complex, a little more serious in their eyes, certainly, and they say it's especially because of those racketeering and conspiracy charges, where they really try to frame this as being a more organized, concerted effort by not only Donald Trump, but those other 18 defendants to show that they were conspiring, that they were working together in concert to try and overturn, or at least undo or pause or halt what was going on in Georgia, that it wouldn't confirm Joe Biden as the winner of that state, but instead Donald Trump.
How quickly do you think we'll see this or any of the cases move ahead and be heard?
Well, former U.S. attorney that I spoke with said that this is not going to happen very quickly at all. It would be almost unheard of to try and push 4 cases through before the election.
All right, Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman with us again tonight. Thanks, Scott, for your insight.
Anytime.
Joining us now is WGXA's political analyst, Philip Swicegood. And Philip, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course.
Let's go ahead and get your thoughts on the overall indictment. Now, is there anything that really surprised you about this indictment last night?
Yeah, there were several things, but first, I would actually say that today may be the most significant day in the history of Georgia politics, because Fani Willis brought this RICO indictment against Donald Trump, and RICO stands for Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations. And so it's kind of convoluted, so that was one surprise, but if you really want to understand what's going on here, Fani Willis, this district attorney in Fulton County, is claiming that Donald Trump is the head of a criminal enterprise whose goal it was to overturn the 2020 election. That's the headline. Like, if you just want to understand what's going on, that's the basic gist of what's going on here.
How do you think that this sets the precedent now going forward for former presidents or politicians in general that are facing maybe charges like these or similar allegations, knowing that not only is it Donald Trump, but it's also his team that had anything to do with what is being alleged?
Part of what's concerning about this is just what you said. It's the precedent that is set for future people that run for office. Essentially what this says is that if you decide to run for office, you can absolutely be prosecuted for the actions that you take.
Well, Philip Swicegood, thank you so much for coming in, and as always, we always appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amanda. And Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who Trump called and asked him to find more than 11,000 votes, released this statement today. The most basic principles of a strong democracy are accountability and respect for the Constitution and rule of law. You either have it or you don't.
We went out to the community today to hear some of your thoughts on Trump's recent indictment and how this might affect your decision at the polls.
I just believe that no one is above the law. So if laws have been broken, then I would say that those who broke them need to face justice in the courtroom.
I agree with it.
And why?
Because if it was me, they'd be indicting me. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter who he is, it's what he done, or accused of doing anyway. That's the same way they treat me, so why should he be treated differently?
You've been voting in our interactive poll as we cover the aftermath of Trump's indictment in Georgia. We've been asking if you agree with him being indicted. 35% of you say yes, 65% of you say no. You can still vote by scanning the QR code on your screen or finding the poll on our website, WGXA.tv.
Well, if you own property in Houston County, your tax bill could be going up. Houston County leaders are considering a tax increase today.
Carlos Stevens is tracking this story and has more from property owners.
I was considering retiring next year, and that's not going to be happening now.
Yvette Brown has lived in Houston County for nearly 30 years. She's worried about this proposed tax increase. The Houston County Board of Commissioners announced its intent to raise property taxes over 5% over the rollback millage rate. As part of the annual property tax assessment process, the Board of Tax Assessors reviews the assessed value of taxable properties in the county. If recent property sales indicate increasing the fair market value of specific properties, the Board of Tax Assessors has to reevaluate and adjust the assessment. Georgia law mandates the computation of a rollback millage rate that would generate the same total revenue on the current year's tax digest as the previous year's millage rate would have if no reassessment occurred. The calculated rollback rate for 2023 stands at 9.66 mills. However, the budget adopted by the Houston County Board of Commissioners necessitates a millage rate higher than the rollback rate. The proposed adjustment involves reducing the current maintenance and operation millage rate from 9.810 to 9.561. This proposal requires a formal advertising of a property tax increase, which is a cause for concern for Brown.
What matters to me is that my income is not increasing, but everything else is.
And now that leaves her with one question.
What's to come?
But she believes going back to the drawing table may help commissioners.
Looking at other ways to bring in income to do what they need to do, yes, so that all of the citizens can be equally affected and not just homeowners.
Houston County Commission Chair Dan Perdue says there's a little relief.
We're actually reducing the tax rate in terms of mills by 0.249. We'll be at the lowest millage rate we've been in many, many years.
Perdue went on to tell me that reserve funds are in a healthy place for the county. I then asked if the county could use those reserve funds instead of proposing a property tax hike. And here's what Perdue told me.
Whatever you do, it has to be sustainable. And so if you reach into the reserve funds this year and say we're going to run the government out of the reserve funds, then the next year you're going to have to reach in even further.
All right, and a live look right now at the Macon and Bibb County Commission meeting. They're undertaking the same issue, deciding on a few key items today, including M&M Groceries' request for a renewed alcohol license, as well as millions of dollars worth in upgrades for the courthouse.
But first, Macon Bibb Mayor Lester Miller is proposing a significant property tax cut. Mayor Miller is recommending the commission adopt a millage rate of about 10.7, making it a reduction of around 7 mil, surpassing the initially announced 5 mil reduction. This will mean lower property taxes for those in Bibb, and the reduction is made possible in part by the other local option sales tax, or OLOST.
Now, the commission is expected to approve millions of dollars for upgrades to the county courthouse. The commission could authorize up to $2.5 million from the 2018 SPLOST revenues that will go towards new furniture, fixtures, and equipment for courtrooms. It will also enhance audio and video systems in multiple courtrooms, along with repaving the courthouse parking areas.
Commission is expected to deny M&M Groceries' request for a renewed alcohol license. This comes after Bibb County Sheriff's Office suspended their license back in June for a series of criminal activity on their property. Commission will hear the county attorney's final recommendation of denying the store's renewal. The city of Milledgeville issued a boil water advisory after a main break. The affected areas include Meriwether Circle, Pine Lake Drive, Stevens Drive, and 127 Blandy Road. Remember to boil water a full minute before using for cooking, drinking, or baby food. The city will issue an update when the advisory is lifted.
And heads up on your daily commute, GDOT crews will begin working nightly on Interstate 75 South in Monroe County. Crews are repaving the stretch of 75 between Rumble and Bunn Roads. During the repairs, 2 lanes will be closed from 7:30 at night to 5:30 each morning. Now, if you're traveling during that time, expect to add more time to your drive time and expect to slow down. And a crisis in the classroom as tensions escalate at Sirius Academy in Macon. A growing dispute between the school's governing board and its superintendent has led the institution's failure to meet state legal obligations in the final year of its 2-year probationary charter contract. The animosity came to a head recently when Sirius employees and community leaders demanded the resignation of board members, accusing them of disregarding students' welfare. The school has recently achieved the state's commission academic standards. However, operational and financial concerns persist, and the dispute threatens the school's future. Now, the board was scheduled to meet tonight at 6. However, our Gloria Ruth Finney has been told that that meeting was canceled, that it appears not everyone involved was informed. Our Gloria Ruth Finney will continue to follow this story. She'll have more on the meeting or lack thereof tonight at 11 on ABC 16, and we'll be right back after this break.
And then continue to track strong storms this Tuesday evening across middle Georgia. We are getting reports of power outages across middle Georgia statewide. We're up to 16,000 people without power. Looks like Sandersville in Washington County has the most power outages being reported. That's at 2,800. And again, as these storms continue to track off towards the south and east, we'll likely see these numbers continue to increase. So, of course, be patient with all the power companies trying to get the power back on. Dublin, ominous skies. We'll look off towards the north and west. In the distance, we can see very heavy rainfall. Notice how that temperature has dropped. It was 97 last hour, has dropped to 82 as that gust front blew through. And what we'll show you next will be some stronger storms, heavy rainfall, and those gusty winds making their way in towards central portions of Lawrence County. Again, from Macon off towards the north, rain and a few thunderstorms, nothing severe. It's from Macon off towards the south and east. That's where we're going to be dealing with these strong storms the next couple of hours. Again, they've developed along a front that's going to be bringing us much improved weather over the next few days. It's still going to be very hot, but we are going to be talking about lower humidity levels. But again, currently we have warnings for northern portions of Houston County, Twiggs County, much of Twiggs County currently under a severe thunderstorm warning. Twiggs County has another severe thunderstorm warning, as well as southern portions of Wilkinson County, Lawrence County, and northern portions of Bleckley County. Right there where all the four corners come together, that's where we're seeing that storm currently. It's moving off towards the south and east. Again, that's right along 16 US 80, which connects Dudley to Dublin, and that's going to be what we're seeing across Lawrence County as we speak. Over towards the east, Johnson County, a strong thunderstorm just north of Adrian. That'll be pushing over into Emmanuel County shortly. Wrightsville, we're kind of just dealing with rain at the time. And again, looking back towards the south and west, good news is that warning for Houston County as well as Peach County has been allowed to expire. But still, Warner Robins dealing with very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning and gusty winds with these storms, but not currently severe. But you don't have to have a severe thunderstorm to be battling with tree and power issues across portions of Houston County. Then we have this other severe thunderstorm warning, essentially just for Macon County as we speak. It does clip portions of Sumter County and then gets over into Dooley County. Again, that storm making its way towards Montezuma. That's what we're going to be watching over the next few minutes. These storms continuing to drift off towards the south and east. Again, they really intensified over middle Georgia. We had a lot of heat today, a lot of humidity, and that's what's fueling these showers and storms the next few hours as they continue to push off towards the south and east. And again, we may have additional warnings. So Dodge County, the rest of Dublin or Lawrence County, getting down towards Wilcox County, Montgomery, Wheeler County, Telfair County, Treutlen County. Just a heads up, these storms are heading your way, and it looks like we're getting some heavier activity, especially over portions of Pulaski County. So would not be surprised to see a few additional warnings. And again, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour are going to be the main threats with these storms, and of course tremendous amounts of lightning. As we look at the future cast as far as the radar, we're going to be seeing these storms wind down the next couple of hours. By 9 or 10 o'clock, most of the activity is out of here and will be in the clear for several days. After today, we're really going to start an extended period of relatively dry weather across much of middle Georgia. Our next weather maker is the front that we're pushing through the area right now. It's a rare August cold front, but we also going to talk about the tropics. They may be waking up over the next week or two, and it's still going to be hot with that much lower humidity. Again, front pushing south through Georgia as we speak. By tomorrow, you'll start to notice that difference in the air as it becomes less humid. That's drier. Those dew points will fall into the 60s, so we will have some comfortable mornings ahead, but we're really going to notice the dew point in the afternoon. It's not going to be as oppressively hot. Drier air moving into the area means rain chances after tomorrow pretty low for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Have almost got them near zero, which is very hard to do of August in middle Georgia, but it's going to be a dry air mass. Again, checking the tropics, two areas of concern. Both have a 0% chance to develop the next few days. One has a 10% chance the next 7 days. The other a 30% chance. We'll keep an eye on it. Next few names up are Emily, Franklin, and Gert. Your 10-day forecast does feature 90s tomorrow. Upper 90s will return as we roll into the weekend and early next week. A lot of spots will be flirting with the century mark. And your Harris's Body Shop fishing game forecast peaks multiple times in the good range throughout the day tomorrow.
Well, WGXA is proud to help Middle Georgia families struggling with diaper access this summer. As a part of our local Sinclair Cares initiative, we're hosting our summer diaper drive to help out local families. You can make a difference by scanning the QR code on your screen to make a financial donation, or you can head to one of 7 bins found at Kroger locations across Middle Georgia and Vineville Baptist Church to drop off your diapers. All proceeds will stay local and benefit the Colby Center. That's right here in Macon. We want to thank you so much so far for your support and everything you've done in this effort.
Well, high school football is back, and get ready to feel the Friday night frenzy. Tune in to the Blitz Friday night at 11:15 on ABC to catch the electrifying action as Middle Georgia's high school football teams light up the field. Touchdown tackles and triumphs await, and it's a bliss you don't want to miss. Get your game on only on the Blitz Friday night at 11:15 on ABC. We'll be right back after this break.
Again, we continue to track some of these strong storms moving through Middle Georgia. If you're from Macon off towards the north, Monticello over towards Forsyth, it's regular rain, a little bit of lightning mixing in, a few storms back into Upson County, as well as you getting into portions of Coweta County, and then you head down towards the south of Macon. That's where we're dealing with these storms. Macon County itself, the city of Montezuma, that's where we're dealing with the severe thunderstorm warning. Only 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Dooley and Macon County, that goes until 6:30, and then Bleckley, Lawrence, Wilkinson, and Twiggs County, that warning goes until 6:30. We're going to continue to track these storms the next really hour or so until they get out of our viewing area. But again, everything is pushing off towards the south and east, heading towards Lawrence County right now, Dublin, Bleckley County, Cochran, very heavy rainfall, lightning with these storms. Up next would be Dodge County, Pulaski County, very heavy rainfall. Unadilla, it looks like this initial storm developed to the east of you. We're still watching that storm back towards Montezuma. So again, still very heavy rainfall through Dooley County, getting it down into Crisp County near Cordele. We're dealing with these storms. And again, lots of lightning with these storms continue to be a main issue near Hawkinsville. Tremendous amounts of lightning, those gusty winds. And then again, it's storming in Dublin right now. We were just trying to pull up our camera. Looks like our camera went down, so maybe a power outage or a lightning strike over near Lawrence County in Dublin right now. So we're watching that. Here's that gust front approaching Soperton. It's now south of Caldwell, and that's a new severe thunderstorm warning. So for that cell right there in really Hawkinsville. So Pulaski County, Bleckley County, now Dodge County. That's going to go until, what time is that for? Until 7:15. Again, does include Eastman. Gusty winds with this storm coming out of Hawkinsville, and that'll be heading towards the east. Again, if you're not dealing with storms right now, you could be. So just a heads up, the rest of Dodge County, southern Lawrence County, get over to the Treutlen County, Montgomery, Wheeler, Telfair County, as well as Wilcox County. These storms are heading your direction. Making off towards the north, again, we are in the clear as far as the severe weather threat. Just watching storms back towards Sumter County, making its way into Macon County. Again, we're about to end the 6 o'clock news. We're going to continue our severe weather coverage on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. You can make sure you can flip over that if you want to continue our severe weather coverage. But until then, stay safe this evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Sindett, along with meteorologist Ryan Mirando, and we'll continue over on our social media platforms.
Good evening, I'm Amanda Peralta.
And I'm Greg Lloyd with this WGXA News Update on Fox 24.
According to the former President Trump, he committed no crime in Georgia's 2020 election because he was using his right of free speech and had genuine concerns about voter fraud. Legal experts say this is likely the defense he'll use after being indicted by Fulton County prosecutors, who accuse him and 18 others of conspiring to illegally change the results of the election. In a post on his Truth Social, Trump says he's presenting a, quote, irrefutable report next week about presidential election fraud that should exonerate him and others. His lawyers say he has the right to call attention to alleged voter fraud publicly.
When he says, I want to look into it, I don't trust it, we need to look into it, that's his obligation as a president. That's a First Amendment right, and that's also the executive branch's responsibility.
There still is no evidence of widespread voter fraud that would have changed the results of the 2020 election. Trump is also federally charged in Washington, D.C. for his alleged efforts to overturn the election.
Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who Trump asked to find more than 11,000 votes, released this statement today. Quote, the most basic principles of a strong democracy are accountability and respect for the Constitution and rule of law. You either have it or you don't. And Governor Kemp tweeting this statement, quote, the 2020 election in Georgia was not stolen. For 3 years now, anyone with evidence of fraud has failed to come forward under oath and prove anything in a court of law, end quote. Kemp says Georgia's elections are secure and fair.
And we went out to the community today to hear some of your thoughts on Trump's recent indictment and how this might affect your decision at the polls.
I think if they've done the work and he's done wrong, then sure. But more than anything else, I'm just tired of all the attention the man gets. I think it just empowers him. At this point, I no longer support former President Trump.
And I feel like there's proper processes in place for him to be charged on those indictments. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's too much on him. It's too much pressure. But, I mean, we'll see.
Okay. And your name is?
Jacob.
The forecast for tomorrow, it will be a noticeably different weather day. It's still going to be hot. We're going to see upper 80s and lower 90s, but the humidity will be much lower. Afternoon highs, we are forecasting in Macon 92 degrees. We could see a few isolated storms across our southern counties early in the day, but for the rest of the week, it's going to be generally dry with lower humidity. A couple of mornings, we're going to be in the 60s, but the heat cranks back up over the weekend with upper 90s in the forecast. And your Harrison's Body Shop fishing game forecast peaks multiple times in the good range tomorrow.
Good evening, I'm Amanda Peralta.
And I'm Greg Lloyd with your Fox 31 News Update.
According to former President Trump, he committed no crime in Georgia's 2020 election because he was using his right of free speech and had genuine concerns about voter fraud. Legal experts say this is likely the defense he'll use after being indicted by Fulton County prosecutors, who accuse him and 18 others of conspiring to illegally change the elections of the result. In a post to his Truth Social, Trump says he's presenting a, quote, irrefutable report about next week about presidential election fraud that should exonerate him and others. His lawyers say he has the right to call attention to alleged voter fraud publicly.
When he says, I want to look into it, I don't trust it, we need to look into it, that's his obligation as a president. That's a First Amendment right, and that's also the executive branch's responsibility.
There still is no evidence of widespread voter fraud that would have changed the results of the 2020 election. Trump is also federally charged in Washington, D.C. for his alleged efforts to overturn the election.
Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who Trump asked to find more than 11,000 votes, released this statement today, quote, the most basic principles of a strong democracy are accountability and respect for the Constitution and rule of law. You either have it or you don't. Governor Brian Kemp tweeting this statement today, quote, the 2020 election in Georgia was not stolen. For nearly 3 years now, anyone with evidence of fraud has failed to come forward under oath and prove anything in a court of law, end quote. Kemp says Georgia's elections are fair and secure.
We went out to the community today to hear some of your thoughts on Trump's recent indictment and how this might affect your decision at the polls.
I think if they've done the work and he's done wrong, then sure. But more than anything else, I'm just tired of all the attention the man gets. I think it just empowers him. At this point, I no longer support former President Trump.
And I feel like there's proper processes in place for him to be charged on those indictments. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's too much on him. It's too much pressure. But, I mean, we'll see.
And the forecast across southwest Georgia tomorrow will be not as hot after a heat advisory all day today. Tomorrow will be somewhat cooler, upper 80s and lower 90s. We'll deal with a mix of sun and clouds across southwest Georgia tomorrow. Rain chances pretty slim. We may see a stray thunderstorm down that way as we head throughout the day, but really rain chances are less than 20% across much of Georgia tomorrow. As we roll into the weekend, it gets hot. Temperatures will easily rebound into the upper 90s for most locations, but thankfully it will not be as humid as we roll into the weekend. And we are back again. We on YouTube as well as Facebook and Twitter still tracking these strong storms as they move through the area. And we're going to stay on our social media platforms until the storms move out of middle Georgia. Again, still dealing with power outages, over 16,000 reports of power outages across middle Georgia. Looks like Washington County has the highest number, just over 1,800. That's what we're dealing with right now. We may see these expanded off towards the south as the storms continue to push off towards the south and east. Again, looking live in downtown Macon, that's Macon, not Dublin. Our Dublin camera has gone down because of rain and storms in the area. But again, here is a live look at the radar. We only have one severe thunderstorm warning right now. That's going to be for portions of Pulaski, Bleckley, and Dodge County. That's where it kind of looks like all these storms are kind of coming together, and they're producing a lot of lightning and gusty winds. For Macon, up towards Milledgeville, Sparta, Monticello, you're dealing with rain, a little bit of thunder and lightning mixing in, but the severe weather threat is essentially from Dublin to Cochrane to Montezuma, off towards the south and east, and that's what we're going to be dealing with the next couple of hours. You know how it goes. We've been tracking these storms. We're going to stay with it until the severe weather threat is over across middle Georgia. And today's one of those rare days. We had numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, but no severe thunderstorm watch. So that just tells you that you don't have to have a severe thunderstorm watch to get severe weather, but you can get a severe thunderstorm warning without a severe thunderstorm watch. And again, that's what we're dealing with. Strongest storms stretching from Emmanuel County over into Johnson County, Treutlen County, and Lawrence County. And what's that new severe thunderstorm warning for, Miranda?
Yeah, that is for portions of southwestern Dodge County, southern Pulaski County, northern Wilcox County, and southeastern Dooley County until 7:15. Severe thunderstorm moving east at 15 miles per hour.
All right, so that's that southern storm, and that's what we're tracking right now. And again, we'll pull up the warnings just to give you a general idea. Oh, that's the future cast, so here we go. There's the warnings, and again, mainly just for our southern counties, we got the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. This is the new one until 7:15, Dooley, Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County. And then you have this other one until 7:15, Bleckley, Dodge, and Pulaski. And again, it's going to be on this leading edge where we're seeing these very strong gusty winds. Heads up, Abbeville is where's Eastman. Doesn't look too bad in your locations right now, but just towards your west, stretching back down towards Cordele, that's where we're dealing with some of these stronger storms. I'm just going to be checking on social media, looking at what we're talking about, severe weather coverage. That's what we're dealing with. It's been a strong storm moving through middle Georgia this, and that's what we're going to continue to track over the next few minutes. Again, current severe thunderstorm warnings, Bleckley, Dodge, and Pulaski County, and then Dodge, Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox County. It's actually 2 portions of the same kind of cell that we're watching as these storms push off towards the east-southeast. Again, if you're in Macon, you're in the clear. It's still raining across a lot of middle Georgia, but again, the main area of concern really shifting down towards the south and east. And again, the storms have been moving from northwest to southeast this evening out ahead of a front that's going to bring that cooler, drier air mass into portions of middle Georgia. And is that a new warning right there, Miranda? All right, so again, we'll kind of steer you around a little bit, just giving you an idea. And of course, what we'll do is we'll take breaks as we head throughout the evening hours, 20 to 30 minutes breaks as we get these new warnings coming in. But as of right now, from Perry off towards the south, 75, people just need to avoid 75 right now because you got these storms coming out of Macon County, heading over into Dooley County, very heavy rainfall from Cordele, and that's going to be stretching up towards Cochrane. And this is the area we're watching with this most intense thunderstorm activity as we speak. And again, lightning will tell you the intensity of a thunderstorm. So tremendous amounts of lightning from Cochrane and Chester down towards Hawkinsville, Wallace, Finleyson, and again, that stretches all the way down towards Cordele. And that's where we're dealing with this very heavy wind, rain, and lightning output with these storms moving off towards the north and east, or they're essentially moving off towards the east. Here's Highway 23, Highway 341. Of course, 341 and 23 kind of gang up in Eastman, and that takes you into downtown Eastman. And Miranda, are you going to be mic'd up and able to use your graphics?
Yeah, I should be able. I don't know if I can use my graphics, but I can talk at least.
All right, well, I will let you talk, or you can come over here for a minute. I got to grab some water. My throat is killing me. If you want to talk, if you want to come steer the radar on the wall.
Yeah, I'll steer it from over here because I think the camera's set up for you, so I'll steer it from over here. But this is the main portion that we're still watching for right now. This is for towns such as Finleyson, Wallace, Hawkinsville. This is for that severe thunderstorm warning that's pushing to the east, directly east at 15 miles per hour. So we're going to put let's put a tracker on this storm specifically. It's moving relatively slow. Some of these storms today moving up to about 25 miles per hour, but this one specifically looks to be right around 15 miles per hour. So let's put a bit of a tracker out here on this one specific area. It's moving east. Let's put it over the next, let's do about an hour and a half, as these storms will probably still hold some strength over the next hour and a half. These are some of the towns in the path of this severe thunderstorm. Plainfield at 7 o'clock, Dodge High at 7:03, Eastman at 7:23, Abbeville at 7:34, Copeland at 7:51, Chauncey at 7:53, Ryan at 8 o'clock, and Jaybird Springs at 8:04. Chauncey, Plainfield, you're not currently in the warning right now, but just a heads up that these storms that are potentially producing damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour are moving through. And those winds could down trees, power lines, could even cause some damage to cars, sidings, or roofs. So when you have those severe thunderstorm warnings over top of you, you really do want to take them seriously. Try to get the most interior room of your home. Try to also get on the lowest floor of your home. Oftentimes winds increase the higher in the atmosphere you are. So we're trying to get the closest to the ground in your home, away from some of those windows, because those are usually also the first to go. But frequent lightning out there. I'm sure it's very loud right now over Pulaski County, really Hawkinsville, Wallace, Finleyson, getting really hammered with the rainfall at this current time. Even the radars showing some of that pink right now. That's really a sign that there is some torrential downpours that's pushing through right now. So 112 over 257, State Route 129, that's headed north towards Hawkinsville right now, really in the heaviest of the downpours. Even this one small area right here, just south of Browndale, the radar is also indicating just some very extreme heavy downpours that's moving through, and this is pushing eastward towards Hawkinsville here over the next little bit. But these are some of the strongest storms that we are watching for at this time. Just let's get a bigger, broader view of what's going on right now. So this is what's happening over Middle Georgia right now. Most of the severe weather threat has gone down. We still do have some light rain out for areas west and north of the I-75, I-16 split. Few rumbles of thunder, but most of it is just some moderate rain at this point. Really, the heavier downpours are through that severe thunderstorm warning. Even Lawrence County and Dublin right now is getting hit with some of these heavier downpours, but that's not currently severe. As the sun begins to set and continues to move through the evening hours, these storms should be pushing through. This is all associated with a cold front, and usually those can bring some pretty strong to severe storms, but it's not generally this time of the year that we see cold fronts bring the severe weather. This is usually more of a spring type event that we see these push through, but it's just been so hot and humid lately that there's just so much juice in the atmosphere that's able to produce these strong thunderstorms that's pushing through. We've had several days of extreme excessive heat where their feel-like temperatures have been well up into the triple digits. We have dew points in the upper 70s. That's just all this moisture for these storms to grapple onto and drop a lot of rain in a short amount of time. Hopefully we aren't having any kind of localized flooding, but areas that do have poor drainage may have some ponding through alongside of the roads, but hopefully we're not having to deal with any widespread flooding from some of these storms that could be potentially dropping a lot of rain in a short amount of time. What's been pretty interesting to see is some of these power outages right now. Right now in Georgia, we have about 17,000 outages. Looks like one of those might be breaking. Let me see if I can reload this to see if it'll kind of fix itself. There's a bit of an issue with Jasper County. We'll have to see what's happening with that. But right now, Georgia's having 17,000 outages with some of these storms. Washington County and Sandersville having the worst of it. Over 20% right now of the county is without power. 1,861 outages. Putnam County is right behind that with a little over 1,300. Hancock County right there at 1,200. Baldwin County at 847 and Crawford at 761. The good news is that Bibb County did have I think they had about 1,500 outages an hour ago. So that's some good news, is that the power is being restored in Bibb County. It just might take a little bit more time for some of the other counties to get all of their power back, but may still have to deal with a few power outages with those severe thunderstorm warnings that we're tracking right now through portions of Bleckley, Dodge, Pulaski, and Wilcox County right now. Those are where the heaviest downpours are, could be producing some of that damaging wind. So let's look past into our Doppler winds. We're able to dive past some of the rain and get the wind structure of these storms. What you're looking at is the red color is the winds moving away from the radar site, and the green is moving towards. So really when we see the bright red, some of that yellow color, that's normally an indication that the radar is showing some high winds out here. So it looks like most of the heavy winds right now are in Dodge County. They're saying the winds gusting up to about 53 miles per hour, kind of trying to get these yellow areas. That's normally where we have those highest winds. So just north of Eastman right now, you're having the strongest winds over you at this time. Northern Dodge County, south of Chester, Those winds are up to 50 miles per hour of radar indicated, but they could be even gusting up to 60, which is going to be those damaging winds that could produce those heavy downpours. Even Wilcox County getting winds up to 40 miles per hour nearby, 30 in southeastern Pulaski County. So these storms are producing some pretty strong gusty winds that are pushing through and some extreme heavy downpours as well. Looks like we're getting one specific really heavy downpour. We see the reds on the radar. That's usually the heavy downpours. And then we're getting some of this purple color. That's usually a sign that there could be some even heavier downpours, potentially even some blinding rain. Usually when we get rainfall totals over 3 inches an hour, that's usually that blinding rain. Usually also if you're driving in that, it's hard to see even the next car potentially in front of you. Could be hard to see 10 feet with just that much rain. If you ever find yourself in some of these heavy downpours while you're driving and you want to pull off to the side, try to do it on an exit ramp. It's just a little bit safer so that you won't have to potentially be hit by other cars that are on the highway. Really getting off of the exit is always the best option that's pushing through. That one area specifically through northern Dodge County, the rain is really coming down right there. We've had a pretty active evening, but things should be beginning to sweep out through the overnight hours. Tomorrow, likely going to be the best day of the week. We've been dealing with some of this extreme heat. The feels like temps have been well up into the triple digits. It's been so uncomfortable. But tomorrow, with this cold front pushing through, it's really not going to be giving us any colder weather necessarily, but it's filtering in drier air mass. So the dew points that have been in the upper 70s the past several days will be probably into the 60s, and that's not necessarily refreshing, but it's going to feel refreshing compared to the extreme sweltering humidity that we've had. It'll be noticeably less humid and just a bit more comfortable. We could have a few isolated showers tomorrow, but most of the next few days look very dry. We could see an isolated shower south and east of Macon, but most of us should be dry tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. But of course, we're into summer. That kind of nicer air mass is not going to be sticking around for long. We're back up into the triple digit feels like temperatures most likely by Friday and into the weekend, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that excessive heat with the feels like temperatures in the near 110. We're just going to be dealing with a little bit of some of that heat. Ryan, I guess I will toss it back over to you with what our plan is going forward.
Yeah, we're actually going to do what we always do. We'll be sitting off camera watching these storms, because I'm fully expecting more severe thunderstorm warnings to be issued down from Lawrence County, Telfair County. Just a heads up. That's where we're going to be dealing with the next couple of hours. So we'll leave the stream up. We'll leave the radar up for everyone as these storms continue to push off towards the south and east. It is 6:49. We'll say we'll come back about 7:15, do a quick update then if anything changes. And we'll be, again, watching things off camera right now. But as of right now, that's it. We are just watching the strong storms moving through Bleckley County, Dodge County, Pulaski County, and Wilcox County. That's where our strongest storms are. But again, that's it for now. We'll be back at about 7:15 with an update. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett, along with meteorologist Ryan Mirando. All right, everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett giving you a quick update. We have lost all the severe thunderstorm warnings, so that is certainly some good news. Still going to be tracking these storms as they push down into Dodge County, southern Lawrence County, Montgomery, Wheeler, and Telfair County. Could get an additional warning, but the storms are gradually winding down. For the rest of the evening, the severe weather threat is over, and we'll have a full forecast tonight on WGXA at 11, having some great news when it comes to the heat the next couple of days. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Stinnett, along with Meteorologist Ryan Mirando.